Blueface thought he had escaped the chaos. He thought distance, new relationships, and legal pressure would finally put space between him and the one person who never stopped chasing him. But the internet woke up shaken today, because insiders are now claiming that Chriseanrock has crossed a line so dark, so unhinged, so spiritually dangerous, that even her closest friends are terrified to be around her. According to multiple sources whispering behind closed doors, Chrisean has allegedly hired actual witches, underground spiritual workers, and ritual practitioners to seal Blueface's energy back to her permanently. They're saying she's not just obsessed, she wants him branded, marked, spiritually locked to her, so no woman can touch him, no family member can reach him, and no new attachment can survive her influence. And the craziest part, the warning started days ago. People close to the situation swear they saw her traveling with strange candles, oils, carved bones, and a red string bracelet that was definitely not for fashion. They say she's been visiting late-night spiritual houses in LA, handing over cash, whispering Blueface's full name, birth date, and even photos of him. One witness even claimed she cried during the ritual, saying, "If I can't have him, no one will." Now Blueface's camp is panicking. His mom is calling it dark forces. His sister swears she felt something off the moment she woke up. And Blueface himself? He posted a message that fans believe is a secret cry for help, and this is just the beginning. Before the witches, before the rituals, before candles and carved bones were even a thought, there was a storm already forming inside Chriseanrock. A storm built from pain, fear, abandonment, and a desperation she never managed to hide. Long before she ever touched fame, long before Blueface even learned her name, she was carrying emotional injuries so raw they never fully healed. They just got louder, messier, and more unpredictable as the spotlight grew brighter. People close to her say Chrisean was always chasing something: validation, affection, attachment, anything that made her feel chosen. But when she met Blueface, everything changed. She didn't just feel chosen, she felt claimed. And that feeling became her oxygen. Producers who were there in the early days swear she used to talk about him like he was the only person who saw the real her. She would sit backstage, shaking from adrenaline, and whisper to whoever was nearby, "He understands me. He's the only one who ever understood me." But that bond wasn't healthy. It wasn't stable. It wasn't built on respect or trust. It was built on trauma, chaos, and this twisted emotional magnetism that neither of them could fully control. Blueface loved the attention, the loyalty, the ride or die attitude, but he also loved distance, new women, new drama, and the power he held over her. And that combination, her obsession and his manipulation, created one of the most explosive, toxic, and unforgettable relationships social media has ever watched unravel in real time. And when the baby came, everything went from chaotic to catastrophic. People around them say Chrisean believed the baby would anchor Blueface to her, force him to grow up, force him to stay. But when he pulled away even harder, when he went back to Jad and Alexis, when he started calling out Chrisean publicly for everything from drinking to fighting to missing appointments, something inside her snapped. Friends say she stopped sleeping, she stopped eating. She started scrolling through his social media obsessively at 3 a.m. She would call people crying and then switch to laughing mid-sentence. She would say, "He's mine, he knows he's mine. Nobody can take him from me." That fear of losing him, that fear of becoming invisible in his world, pushed her into darker places. First, she turned to crystals, spiritual cleanses, and tarot readers. Then she went to energy healers who claimed they could fix attachments. But when none of that brought him back, when he got more distant, more hostile, more publicly aggressive, she started looking for stronger solutions. People who knew her at that point say she was constantly asking questions like, how do you bind someone and can energy pull somebody back? And this wasn't just emotional. Blueface's family added gasoline to the fire. Carlissa, always watching, always judging, claimed Chrisean brought bad spirits into their home. Jadden kept posting subliminals like she had already won. Blueface himself started saying things like, "She's crazy, she needs help, and she's obsessed," all while knowing those words cut deep enough to make her spiral harder. Her pastor tried to intervene at one point. Yes, even he appears in this backstory. He urged her to let go, to break soul ties, to pray instead of retaliate, but she was already too far gone emotionally. She wasn't listening to scripture. She was listening to pain. She was listening to fear. She was listening to the voice inside her that kept whispering, "Don't lose him, do whatever it takes." And that voice is what pushed her toward the darkest option of all, the one that would make even her most loyal supporters take a step back. Because once she became convinced that spiritual power could force Blueface back into her orbit, once she believed someone could put a mark on him that only she controlled, letting go stopped being an option altogether. And when she finally acted on it, that's when everything changed forever. The trouble didn't start when Chrisean hired the witches. It started the moment Blueface realized something was wrong, something he couldn't explain, couldn't shake off, and couldn't laugh about on Instagram Live. Insiders say the first sign came one night at the studio when Blueface randomly stopped mid-sentence, grabbed his chest, and said, "Why does it feel like someone's pulling on me?" At first, everyone brushed it off. They joked that he was tired, high, stressed out, typical Blueface stuff. But then it happened again, and every time it felt stronger. Meanwhile, Chrisean was disappearing for hours at a time, slipping into the shadows of LA. Not clubs, not studios, not link-ups, but small backrooms behind botanicas, abandoned office spaces turned spiritual labs, and secret houses where people don't speak English. They speak symbols, chants, and moon cycles. One of these places belonged to a woman named Malaka, a witch known underground as the Binder. She's the type of spiritual worker artists whisper about but never admit to visiting. Her rituals are extreme, her prices are high, and her results? Terrifyingly effective. Witnesses claim Chrisean showed up with a bag of personal items. Blueface's picture, hair brushed from a hoodie, a chain pendant she swears he touched during their last argument, and even a tiny scrap of a shirt she kept hidden for months. She was serious. She wasn't playing. And when she placed those items on Malaka's altar, she allegedly whispered, "Make him feel me. Make him remember me. Make him mine." Back at Blueface's house, things got worse. His mom, Carlissa, swore she heard footsteps in the hallway when he wasn't home. His sister said she kept having dreams where Blueface was calling to her, but his voice sounded far away. Even Jadden Alexis, who never believes anything spiritual, told her cousin something creepy. He's been staring into space like he's somewhere else, like somebody's watching him. But the real twist hit when Blueface started posting cryptic messages. Not funny, trolling clown jokes, real fear, real confusion, messages like, "Something don't feel right. Y'all ever feel somebody pulling your energy? I can't describe it, but something off." Fans thought he was being dramatic, but the people around him knew the truth. He wasn't scared of Chrisean. He was scared of whatever was following him around. And then came the twist that shook everyone. Late one night, Blueface called someone he never calls, his old manager, Whack 100. And witnesses claim Blueface told him, voice shaken, "Bro, I keep seeing her. Even when she not here, I see her face. I hear her voice calling my name. I swear I ain't losing my mind, but something got me feeling tied." If that wasn't bad enough, Whack allegedly responded with the first real confirmation that something supernatural might be happening. He said, Somebody told me she messing with them spell people. You need to be careful." Blueface froze, because up until that moment, he assumed everything was just in his head. But hearing someone else say it, hearing someone else confirm rumors about Chrisean hiring spiritual workers, that was the moment he realized he wasn't imagining anything. Something had been done, something powerful, something aimed directly at him. Meanwhile, Chrisean wasn't slowing down. Her pastor tried calling her for 2 days straight. She ignored every single call. Her aunt pulled up to her place begging her to stop, saying, "Baby, you don't know what you're playing with." But Chrisean wasn't backing down. If anything, she looked more determined, more intense, more locked into this mission than ever before. And the shocking twist came the moment Malaka, the notorious witch, finished the ritual and allegedly told Chrisean something that made her eyes widen and her whole body shake. "They will know he belongs to you soon." Whatever that meant, it was only the beginning. The moment Malaka declared the ritual complete, something shifted in the air around Chrisean. Witnesses say she walked out of that room looking like she had just stepped into another version of herself, calm, confident, almost glowing with a dangerous kind of certainty. The type of certainty that comes when someone believes fate has already decided the outcome. She didn't talk, she didn't laugh, she didn't even blink much. It was like she had traded a piece of herself for something she couldn't return. But the real escalation started when Blueface's behavior began spiraling in ways nobody expected. His security reported that he kept pacing around the house at night, muttering to himself, asking if someone was behind him, even though the cameras showed nothing. Jaden said he kept waking up drenched in sweat, saying he felt pressure on his chest. At one point, he locked himself in the bathroom for nearly 30 minutes because he swore he heard someone whisper his name right behind his ear, but nobody else heard anything. Then came the night everything tipped over the edge. Blueface was performing at a small venue in Vegas, just a quick promo show, nothing major. But halfway through his set, he suddenly froze. Fans saw him stop dancing, drop the mic slightly, and stare into the crowd like he saw a ghost. His entire expression changed: shock, confusion, fear. He stepped back, stumbled, and almost fell off the stage before his team grabbed him. When they got backstage, he kept saying the same thing over and over. "She was there. I saw her. I swear I saw her." But Chrisean was in Los Angeles. There was proof. She was even on Instagram Live that same night. But Blueface insisted, "No, no. She was right in front of me. She said my name." That was when WAC 100 called in someone he never expected to involve in Blueface's drama, a spiritual advisor named Marcos, a man known for energy reversals. WAC thought Blueface needed grounding, prayer, something to snap him out of the spiritual fog. But when Marcos walked into the room, he didn't say a word for the first 30 seconds. He just stood there scanning Blueface like he was reading a different dimension around him. Then he quietly said, "Somebody attached you." Blueface froze. His team stared. Jaden turned pale. And then Marcos added the line that changed the entire night. "And it wasn't an amateur." Meanwhile, back in LA, Chrisean was getting worse. Much worse. Friends say she had stopped brushing her hair. She was pacing around her apartment, mumbling Blueface's name under her breath like a mantra. She kept lighting candles until the entire place smelled like burnt resin. Every few minutes, she would check her phone expecting Blueface to call. She kept saying, "He feels me. I know he feels me." And disturbingly, she wasn't wrong. He did feel something he couldn't explain. But the real second twist came when someone from Malaka's circle leaked what Chrisean asked for during the ritual. And it wasn't just a binding. It wasn't just an attachment. It was something stronger, something far more dangerous. Chrisean allegedly requested a branding ritual, a mark on Blueface's spiritual identity, so nobody else could connect with him emotionally, romantically, or physically without feeling discomfort or resistance. A mark that forces loyalty, a mark that disrupts new relationships, a mark that can even cause nightmares, paranoia, and emotional confusion in the target. And here's the part that sent chills through everyone who heard it. To complete that ritual, the practitioner needs an energy exchange, meaning Chrisean had to give up something personal, something powerful, something from deep within her emotional core, and sources claim she offered up her most painful memory, the one involving Blueface, the baby, and the night she felt abandoned by the world. She gave that up willingly, believing it would make the ritual stronger, and according to Malaika, it did. But the darkest twist wasn't that she requested the brand. It was that Malaika allegedly warned her. Once branded, he will come back to you, but he won't come back the way you expect. And that is what pushed this entire situation from obsession into something far more dangerous. By the time rumors started leaking online, Blueface was already unraveling in ways his fans had never seen before. His social media posts became scattered, angry one hour and paranoid the next. People noticed the shift immediately. His eyes looked tired, his energy looked drained. He wasn't trolling, wasn't laughing, wasn't running his usual petty drama. He looked haunted. Clips from his Vegas performance went viral within hours, slowed down, zoomed in, and picked apart by fans who swore they saw his expression change. The exact second he felt something off, hundreds of comments poured in. Why he looked like he's seen a demon? Something got him spiritually. This not regular stress, something attached to him. Even people who usually mock the drama took a step back. Something in his eyes didn't look normal. It looked like fear. Meanwhile, Chrisean was making it worse without even trying. She went live multiple times, pacing in her apartment with candles burning behind her, whispering random phrases like she wasn't fully present. At one point, she started crying and saying, "He can feel me, I know he can feel me." Her supporters got worried, her critics got louder, and her pastor tried once again to intervene. This time, he didn't call. He showed up at her apartment door with 2 church elders, begging her to stop whatever she had started. He said she wasn't herself. He said she was playing with something too big, too dark, too unpredictable. But Chrisean didn't open the door. She just stood behind it, whispering Blueface's name under her breath. While the candles flickered violently behind her, Jaden Alexis was furious. She started ranting to her cousins and her makeup artist, saying she felt something off in the house every time Blueface left a room. She accused Chrisean of sending bad spirits and told people she kept waking up at 3 a.m. feeling watched. She even posted a story, later deleted, that said, "Y'all witches need to leave my house alone." Carlissa, always searching for attention, used the moment to get online and preach. She started making exaggerated claims, saying she warned everyone years ago that Chrisean had demons around her. She even dragged Blueface on live, accusing him of bringing chaos into the family through that girl with the spirits. Her dramatic takes only poured more gasoline onto a situation already at its breaking point. But what truly shook everyone was when Blueface's little sister, Callie, posted a voice note online saying she had a nightmare so vivid she woke up screaming. In the dream, she said she saw Blueface sitting in a dark room with his hands tied behind him, staring straight ahead with blank eyes while a woman's voice whispered, "He's mine." The moment the clip hit social media, it exploded. Fans were terrified. Commentators made videos. TikTok psychics went viral diagnosing the situation. Even people outside the drama, musicians, influencers, spiritual advisors, started weighing in. A well-known tarot reader posted a reading that got millions of views, claiming she saw dark attachments, a binding energy, and a desperate feminine force trying to reclaim an emotional possession. She never said names. She didn't have to. Reporters jumped in next. Blogs started calling it the Blueface curse. People on Twitter joked about spiritual warfare celebrity edition, but underneath the jokes, everyone sensed real danger. Because this wasn't just drama anymore. This wasn't just ex-couple chaos. This was something deeper, stranger, and visibly affecting both sides. Then came the moment that changed everything. Blueface got into his car one afternoon, ready to head to the studio, but as soon as he closed the door, he froze. The air felt heavy, the temperature dropped, and the strong scent of burning herbs, the same kind Chrisean had been using, hit him out of nowhere. His hands started shaking. His chest tightened. He jumped out of the car like he was escaping something he couldn't see. When his security checked the vehicle, there was nothing. Nothing on the cameras. No signs of tampering, no physical explanation, but Blueface refused to get back in. He told his team, "I'm not driving that, something in there ain't right." Hours later, a paparazzi photo captured him, leaving the studio looking terrified, constantly checking over his shoulder. That image alone went viral. Fans described him as possessed, drained, and spiritually sick. Meanwhile, Chrisean started spiraling in the opposite direction. She was convinced the ritual was working. She kept posting cryptic messages like, "When you feel someone calling you, trust it," and "soul ties can't be broken." At one point, she posted a photo of a red string bracelet, commonly used in binding rituals, with the caption, "He's connected, y'all can't break this." Her pastor was devastated, her family was worried. Even her closest friends started keeping their distance, saying her energy felt too heavy, too intense, and not normal. She wasn't sleeping, she wasn't eating. She was consumed by this one mission: pull Blueface back to her at any cost. And while all this unfolded, Marcos, the spiritual advisor Wack brought in, sat Blueface down and gave him the one warning none of them expected to hear. "This is no longer emotional. This is no longer mental. Someone has claimed your energy. And if you don't undo it soon, the connection will become permanent." That single sentence sent his entire team into panic mode, and the fallout was just getting started. The moment Marcos warned Blueface that the spiritual attachment could become permanent, the entire room went silent. Nobody breathed, nobody blinked. Jadden grabbed Blueface's arm so tight her nails left marks, while Wack paced the corner like he wasn't used to handling anything that couldn't be fixed with contracts or threats. But Marcos wasn't done. He stared at Blueface for a long moment and said, "There's something else. Someone didn't just bind you. They branded you, and once a brand settles, removing it becomes dangerous." Blueface felt his chest tighten again, but this time it wasn't fear. It was rage. He was furious that someone had this kind of control over him, furious that someone dared reach into his life in a way fists, courts, and diss tracks never could. But when he opened his mouth to speak, something stopped him. A voice, not out loud, not in the room, but in his head. A whisper, familiar, female, soft, but commanding. "Come home." Blueface jolted so hard, Wack thought he was having a panic attack. Jadden screamed. Marcos stepped back, eyes wide, because even he wasn't expecting the brand to be strong enough to create auditory connection. Meanwhile, miles away in her apartment, Chrisean was sitting on the floor, surrounded by candles, rocking back and forth like she was in a trance. Her eyes were half closed, her breathing shallow. She whispered Blueface's name over and over like she was pulling him with an invisible rope. And the scariest part? She genuinely believed he heard her, but Chrisean wasn't alone. Standing behind her was Malika, the witch, watching her with a calm expression. She was holding a small bowl of herbs that were burning so intensely the smoke curled around Chrisean's body like arms. And Malika whispered a chilling sentence nobody expected. "He's resisting, but the brand is already settling." Back at Blueface's house, Marcos tried to snap him out of the trance. He grabbed Blueface's shoulders, shook him, and shouted his name. But Blueface was frozen, staring forward like he was looking at something none of them could see. Tears streamed down Jadden's face as she begged him to answer her. Even Wack looked scared, something nobody had ever seen before. Then, just when everyone thought Blueface was coming back to reality, he whispered something that chilled the entire room. "She's calling me." Jadden stepped back like she had been slapped. She whispered, "No, no, no," over and over, while Wack cursed under his breath, and Marcos prepared a protection chant. But the connection was too strong. The ritual had crossed a line nobody knew how to uncross. And then came the twist nobody expected. Malika, still standing behind Chrisean, received a sudden message, a warning, from the energy itself. She lifted her head sharply, eyes widening as the smoke around them shifted direction. She paused, concentrated, and then whispered, "There's interference. Someone else is trying to break the brand." Chrisean's eyes shot open. "Who?" she demanded, voice shaking, desperation overflowing through every word. Malika didn't answer at first. She just stared at the smoke patterns forming shapes above the candles. Then she said something that changed everything. The one protecting him has been here before. That one sentence caused the entire atmosphere to shift, because up until now, Chrisean thought she was the only one fighting spiritually. She thought nobody else would dare counter her energy. But hearing that someone, possibly a family member, an ancestor, or even a spiritual advisor, had already stepped into the ritual world to shield Blueface shattered her confidence. And while she panicked, Blueface suddenly gasped, like something had been ripped off him, like a heavy weight had been yanked from his chest. He leaned forward, grabbing his knees, coughing violently as if he had been underwater for too long. Jaden rushed to him, holding his face, crying hysterically. Marcos looked stunned, because whatever was protecting Blueface wasn't coming from him. It was coming from somewhere else entirely. But then came the real shocker. Blueface suddenly looked up with wild eyes and whispered, "She's coming." Jaden froze. "Who's coming?" Blueface stared straight ahead, voice trembling. "Chrisean, she knows. She's on her way." Meanwhile, at that exact moment, miles away, Chrisean stood up suddenly like something had jolted her awake. She blew out all the candles with one sharp breath, grabbed her phone, her keys, and her bracelet, and stormed out of her apartment without saying a single word. Her eyes, full of rage, full of desperation, full of a dangerous certainty. She believed Blueface was calling her back. She believed the ritual had worked. She believed the brand was connecting them. But the truth, something else entirely was pulling her, and neither she nor Blueface understood what was waiting at the end of this connection. And as her car tore out of the parking lot, her phone buzzed with a message from a blocked number. One chilling sentence: "Once a brand settles, someone must pay the price." Nobody knows what that means. Nobody knows who sent it. And nobody knows what's about to happen when Chrisean shows up face to face with Blueface while the brand is still settling. And now, with Chrisean speeding through LA like a force nobody can stop, with the brand still settling on Blueface's energy, and with unseen forces interfering on both sides, this story is nowhere near over. Everything is spiraling toward one explosive confrontation, the kind that doesn't just shake social media, but leaves real consequences behind. Blueface's team is scrambling. Jaden is terrified. Marcos is preparing for a spiritual battle he didn't sign up for. And Chrisean, she's locked in, convinced destiny is pulling her closer and closer to the man she refuses to let go. But the scariest part is what nobody sees coming, the price that brand demands. Someone is going to pay for it. Someone is going to feel it, and someone is going to lose something they can't ever get back. We just don't know who, not yet. So if you think this is where the chaos ends, you're wrong. This is the moment everything shifts into a new chapter. The spiritual warfare, the confrontation, the truth behind the interference, the fallout when Blueface finally realizes what's been done to him and what it's going to cost to undo it. And trust me, the next update on this story, it's going to be darker, wilder, and more shocking than anything we've covered yet. You do not want to miss what happens when Chrisean and Blueface's energies collide again, while the brand is still burning. If you're ready for every twist, every ritual reveal, every spiritual bombshell that drops next, make sure you're locked in. Subscribe, hit that bell, and stay tuned, because this story is about to explode in ways none of us are prepared for. And the moment the next piece of this insane drama breaks, you'll hear it here first.